You remember I was telling you how ruthless my granddaughter was with her great grandmother when we was playing Monopoly? Well, it got worse. Yesterday I was watching TV. My granddaughter comes to me and says, "Hey, Grandpa, you remember a while back you were saying that everybody's wrong sometimes, nobody's always right?" I said, "Yeah, I remember. What about it?" She said, "Oh, nothing." Now she was holding a plate of food in her hand. She looked at me and said, "I was going to eat this food, but my mother said it's probably been in the refrigerator too long. It's probably bad. It'll make me sick. I should just throw it away." But she could be wrong, right? Then I realized, okay, my granddaughter was setting me up to use my own words against me. I said, "Well, yeah, she could be wrong, but she's probably just trying to play it safe. She doesn't want you to get sick, so you should just probably throw it away." And so then my granddaughter looked at me and asked, "If I did get sick, how long would it take?" I said, "I don't know, an hour and a half, definitely in 2 hours, we would know you'd be real sick." She said, "Okay." And she walked away. Now got up and went outside to do some work, came back in the house 40 minutes later. My granddaughter is sitting in the chair watching her great grandmother sleep, just sitting there with her hands on her chin. I walk back by 30, 40 minutes later. She's still just sitting there watching her great grandmother sleep. 30 minutes later, I come back by. She's just sitting there watching her great grandmother sleep. I called her to the kitchen and said, "What are you doing?" She said, "I'm watching my great grandmother sleep." I said, "Why are you doing that?" She said, "Is something wrong with me watching my great grandmother sleep?" Of course, I couldn't say anything. There's nothing wrong with it. It's weird. So 30 minutes later, I come back by. My granddaughter's sitting at the table eating that food she was supposed to throw away. I said, "Isn't that the plate of food your mother told you to throw in the trash?" She said, "Yeah, but I asked Gran if she was hungry, and if she was, I would share some of my food with her. She said she was hungry, so I gave her some of my food." 2 hours later, she's fine. Do you see what happened? My granddaughter turned her great grandmother into a food tester. Now, this time I know it's my fault because last week we was watching a movie about war in Europe in the old days, and one of the kings had a food tester test their food. My granddaughter asked me why, and I explained because people want to poison the king. So the king would have a food tester test their food, and then if the food was poisoned, the food tester would die, not the king. She obviously remembered that, and she used her great grandmother as a food tester. Should I be afraid? Got me thinking about when I was raising my girls, the times that they'd come to me and just put a spoon of food in my mouth, say, "Hey, Daddy, taste this," and I just tasted it without question. Were they using me as a food tester? Next time a kid asks you to taste some food, you gotta wonder, are they using you as a food tester?